What up YouTube, Spike Robot here with another video. This time it's a live review, and this review is going to be of Thunderball. Thunderball is a James Bond 007 movie that was released on December 22nd, 1965. I'm once again returning to one of my favorite series, and a Sean Connery one to boot. Is this a good entry in the 007 series or not? Well, you know the drill. Let's start with the story. This time James Bond goes on a mission that takes him to the Bahamas to recover 2 nuclear warheads that were stolen by a Spectre agent, Emilio Largo. Pretty simple. Overall, this is a pretty fucking good story. It has the trademark convoluted espionage themes of the 007 series, but one thing it particularly puts an emphasis on is manipulation, or rather an attempt of manipulation. This is present in the whole plot line with Fiona. When we first see Fiona, she is willing to help Bond with driving him back. But Bond immediately finds out that Fiona is working for Spectre when he finds the logo for that organization somewhere in the car. Even though he knows she's working for Spectre, he tries to play along with her manipulation, for a while at least. Bond slowly and surely does let some of his real thoughts out, but with some room for interpretation there too. Like when he says he only had sex with Fiona for king and country, not because he enjoyed it. It is made pretty clear that he enjoys sex, considering the earlier scene. He just doesn't enjoy fucking a Spectre agent. I will say that is some goddamn genius writing. It just works so fucking well. It really does. One of the things that makes Sean Connery so good is that he's able to mix in a brutal and really dark edge with a certain charm and likability to the character that somehow feels completely real. It also helps that this movie is pretty well written too. This is also the first 007 movie that really sets the tone of what the series would be like later on. It is the first one to be 2 hours long and has an aspect ratio similar to Raiders of the Lost Ark. It also has a less understated tone it's also a lot less understated than at least Dr. No and From Russia with Love. Hell, the underwater theme was even reused in The Spy Who Loved Me. In other words, I think the filmmakers really found their footing with this one. Another thing that fascinated me was the character of Domino. She starts off as another fucking girl trying to play hard to get with our hero, but you later find out that she's the significant other to Largo, and Largo is pretty abusive toward her. The line he says about Domino giving him pleasure and him being forced to give her pain if she doesn't tell him where Bond is has some interesting subtext. Largo gets pleasure from causing pain to Domino. As much of a hedonist as I am, I will say my philosophy does not apply to scum like Largo, who have no decency. Domino is one of the first vengeful Bond girls, and she has every fucking reason to be that way. The vengeful women in the series have always had a real fucking bite to them. And I love that. She might be one of my favorite Bond women. As good of a story as it is, I do have my complaints with it. The story can be pretty slow at times for largely no reason. I get that it was made during a time when movies were leisurely paced compared to modern day movies, but that has been a problem with many 007 movies, and it's particularly bad here. Also, James Bond never even kisses Domino, which is odd and kind of anticlimactic, to be quite honest. But I'm kind of nitpicking here. As for the action scenes, they're pretty damn good. The first one is kind of short, but the underwater action scene is honestly really fucking good. Plenty of gunshots, blood, and explosions to satisfy your craving for action and violence. It is pretty impressive that it was shot underwater, especially when you consider the time period. While not on the level of The Spy Who Loved Me, it's much better than Live and Let Die. As for the production values, the cinematography, editing, sound, and sets are pretty good. The music is pretty good, too. I actually prefer the score to the song. Now, the song Thunderball isn't bad, but it's not one of my favorite songs in the series. You're not going to believe this, but I think that honor would have to go to The Living Daylights. Overall, Thunderball is a really good early 007 movie. It has an intriguing story, solid action scenes, and good production values. I wouldn't call it my favorite 007 movie, but it's definitely much, much better than the fucking movie that came after it. For the record, it's You Only Live Twice. I highly recommend it to all 007 fans out there. I give Thunderball 4 out of 5 stars with the title of Awesome. Anyway, I'm Spike Robot. If you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel. And take it easy. Honor the freedom, Jingos.
Perched alone, he sits there broken.